My name is Erica Lorraine Spencer, and I remain subject to state surveillance and terrorism by the state of California that is operating a malicious targeting system which is referred to as federal group stalking and monitoring via communication devices. And it is in violation of federal stalking statute 18 U.S.C. sections 2261A subsections 1 and 2. My website and podcast serve the public good by publishing evidence of the public entity's ceaseless engagement in a pattern of conduct intended to stalk and monitor via communication devices, surveil, harass, and terrorize an American citizen in concert with the people of the state of California. Documentation serves the lawful purposes of wide exposure, federal prosecution, and influencing federal legislation with policies specifically designed to punish, dismantle, and disincentivize an unprecedented targeting system by a public entity that acts in concert with the people of the state in order to criminally place under surveillance and terrorize an American citizen, which is a matter of public corruption in the state of California. Notice: intellectual property theft is particularly egregious and equally unlawful where the sole inventor and creator of the intellectual property is the targeted individual. Erica Lorraine Spencer, subject to the unconstitutional and inhumane government system of gang stalking, otherwise referred to as federal group stalking and monitoring via communication devices, because of which the intellectual property created by the targeted individual, who is, in fact, Erica Lorraine Spencer, as the intellectual property also proves, serves to establish via evidence and expose the existence of criminal surveillance and thus an inherent threat posed by the U.S. government and the civilian population sharing engagement in the unlawful system. Such evidence that includes all of the content created by Erica Lorraine Spencer, images, videos, audio, etc., belongs solely and entirely to Erica Lorraine Spencer only and is necessarily published online in order to protect her life, safety, and liberty as the targeted individual, who is also the intellectual property owner, no less protected from theft procured through targeting by a public entity. Theft of any intellectual property belonging to Erica Lorraine Spencer, which is necessarily committed while she, being both creator and inventor, remains oppressed by the public entity via criminal surveillance, is a criminal and inhumane means of infringement under all circumstances and not protected nor enforceable pursuant to any invalid or fraudulent acts of copyright, trademarks, patents, etc., including as it pertains to any ideas associated with or generated from the intellectual property or the intellectual property owner, Erica Lorraine Spencer, whether creative, business, or otherwise, nor does the intellectual property owner consent to any such means of infringement and theft. Erica Lorraine Spencer here. The following is an audio version of video evidence that is captured for purposes of mass distribution, which is why I am capturing it and sharing it on the podcast for evidentiary purposes and also to reveal the wealth of documentation that extends beyond what it is that I document on podcasts. Much of the video and images will be published onto the YouTube channel, the P.O.C, and it is also shared on the Google Drive. Again, this is for purposes of revealing what I remain subject to, which is federal group stalking and monitoring. It is a demonic system of state surveillance that the government is practicing in concert with the people of the state, and it should be known and well understood that for the government to engage in federal group stalking and monitoring, this is a crime that is committed with a criminal purpose to threaten the life of an American citizen. This is to conspire to murder and or permanently kidnap an American citizen while engaging in a perpetual sex offense in concert with the people of the state. Entity is stalking, speeding down the street to cross path as I operate my device, which this entity is keeping under surveillance. Understand that this is a police department that's being documented. They're being disbanded. They are gang stalking as third parties, vicariously engaging in surveillance under the fake moon. And this demon is maintaining this vehicle where I'm taking pictures of the airport flying over Mule Car Smokehouse. I'm on the opposite side. These demons are pacing all around while the airport is flying over here, flying over this building. And this demon is strategically located. It's called relevant position. In a position relevant to where I'm located on the opposite side of this building where the airport is also targeting. And you'll see the homosexuals that are walking around stalking at the square right now. Okay? Exhibit A, stalking in the dark. This is one. The African American, he's walking around. He was stalking at the square. He was stalking at the library. And now he's pacing around. And also the third parties these are all demons that are stalking in the dark, and they're all stalking together, and the entities engaged in this. And I already captured Ontario police that were stalking at the intersection right here. The people of the state have their hazard lights on, the third party, and you saw the fake moon based on where I was located. The fake moon was right here at the corner. The fake moon moves around just like the fake sun while I'm moving around. The location of the light source where you see the crime scene, it's relevant to my position. Okay, it's the same thing in the environment. This demon is stalking in the middle of the field, directly in alignment to me. He's stalking in the path, okay? And this is criminal presence. This is what a police department is engaging in. They do it with the people of the state, okay? This is the P.O.C. This is the entity that's engaged in that, and this is the entity that's engaged in that in this. This is my shadow that's over here appearing on the wall. This is the shadow that's also that's supposedly the ground. This is impossible light activity, okay? This is P.O.C. That's a stalker. All right, and that's somebody that knows exactly where I'm at, what I'm doing, and is monitoring my device in concert with demons that are stalking at the square, surveillance. And this is the entity that is very much engaged in vagina monitoring, surveillance in bathrooms, stalking 24 hours a day, and doing so with the government that's maintaining helicopter activity and stalking wide commercial planes. This is the military. This is the police that are engaged in surveillance, conspiring your murder. It is 12:37 at night in the morning. 12:37 at night, and this is mental illness, this entity that's refusing to stop stalking you. And that's what this is, and this is how this evidence, this behavior is going to be analyzed by the people of the state that are gang stalking with vicariously on behalf of that entity. That's P.O.C. This is Mule Car Smokehouse, where I'm located at the Ontario Town Square, and this is indeed the P.O.C. Staring at your nails while you're being documented stalking at 12:37 in the morning, and that's exactly what you're doing under the fake moon. That's exactly all they're doing under the fake sun. That's exactly what they're doing where the government is stalking, targeting by virtue of flying over a Mule Car Smokehouse, stalking me, and so are they. Okay, this is P.O.C. I want to share. These are stalkers. Okay, they don't have any other purpose. These are demons that are engaging in surveillance, and this is what they're doing over and under majority. These are sex offenders that are engaging in stalking, and they're doing so with the government. This is the government that is a threat to its ongoing existence is a threat while they are engaging in criminal activity. And this is an entity that's just, you can see conspicuously, they're stalking in the parking garage, sitting in their cars, pacing in and out of that garage, molesting with impossible light. They're all sitting around stalking, watching, listening, monitoring me. The entire city of Ontario. See, it is currently 12:38 a.m. And this is why Paul Leon's being removed from office of the Ontario City Council. The airport's getting shut down. The police are stalkers. Okay, I captured a picture of Ontario police, psychopaths, engaged in criminal summoning, speeding by, having a psychotic break triggered by my existence and triggered by my prosecution, triggered by literally how I describe them truthfully. Okay, while the entity is maintaining stalkers that are in alignment to where I'm located, stalking me in the middle of the night under things like a fake moon and a fake sun, where that entity is stalking, maintaining what was a fake sun over me all day long. And this is surveillance at nightfall. This is the entity that's going to be subject to martial law. Gang stalking me like this, and I prosecuted it. I proved it. This is levying war, and they will be subject to martial law. You are being committed while you're engaging in what is exhibiting mental illness, stalking in the absurd ways that I've shown, and you're also going to compensate me. You're going to pay me, including these broke demons that are stalking in the middle of the night. It's restitution, which is relevant for terrorism, and it's going to be federal laws with regard to the people of the state compensating the target individual that they conspire to murder. It is currently 12:39 a.m. Alrighty, this is P.O.C. I want to document the entity that is targeting me as I document a sex offender. License 5 Edward Zebra Mary 554. Documentation of a third party is conclusive upon that public entity then stalking you by helicopter, stalking you by criminal summoning, stalking you by the entity that's targeting for an airport that maintains no flights over downtown Ontario luxury apartments. Doing so also at a venue where the fake sun is both rising and setting. Okay, this is the P.O.C. and this is my shadow here. This is my shadow here. And this is a pervert that's engaging in sexual assault and battery. Serially stalking as well. All right, going to the venue, engaging in that pattern of conduct. while you're engaging. This is a sex offender, and this is sexual violence. Rapists, those that are kidnapping women, those that are stalking them, murdering them, and they're doing so in concert with the government. This is a third party. This is why he's going to prison as well. This is the P.O.C. This is a third party that is being targeted amongst an entity of sex offenders and stalkers. And this is an entity that is permitting sex offenders and psychopaths and rapists and serial killers to engage in their violent impulses while they're monitoring and gang stalking the targeted individual. The government that's stalking me in Southwest Airlines planes. There are no planes that are taking off here. You've seen them engaging in the U-turns and the dipping and diving and engaging in psychopathic pacing right here. That's exactly what they're doing while I'm being sexually assaulted, while I'm documenting on video, just like the demons are doing, telling on the elderly that can't afford to pay their rent, and they're going to need the same federal government to give them some check, and they're not getting it. You're not getting a dime. And this is the evidence that is establishing not only martial law, it's establishing policy. And it is against public policy that domestic terrorists, criminals, are receiving any sort of benefit from that government that is also then incentivizing it. This ongoing criminal network is being broken apart. It's being dismantled. It is being destroyed, and this is disincentivizing it. If you think you're going to gang stalk and then the government's going to help you pay your rent or give you any food stamps or help you pay for your child's child care or give you prenatal care, it does not matter. You name it, you are not getting it. This is a board, across the board. This is the entity that is gang stalking. Gang stalkers are being cut off. You are not getting any assistance. You are terrorists. Terrorists do not receive any gang assistance. Well, that is gang assistance. The gang members are not being compensated anymore. The gang leader is the public entity. The gang leader is paying. It's a form of payment. And under all circumstances, it is against public policy. You will absolutely be receiving no assistance whatsoever. So if you can't pay your rent now, you're looking forward to homelessness. And no one is shedding a tear for that either. Everyone is safer when you are outside and you can't hide and conceal your obsession with monitoring people's vaginas when you're sleeping under a bush where everyone can see you. This is the P.O.C. It is currently 6:02 a.m. The government's criminal activity, the people of the states, their criminal engagement in the pattern of conduct exposes threats like that, who are going around and they're able to commit murder and kidnapping and rape, while that same gang stalking government is then going on Dateline talking about they solved a case. They're part of the criminal system. They incentivize it, they enable it, and they keep themselves employed. This is an old, perverted psychopath that's been stalking me for years. And the government is targeting me while I document. There are no coincidences there. But that's going to be handled not just by prosecution, but policies that are designed to disincentivize and break apart the entire system. The government has no authority and no power. It's being called out and identified now, and it will not continue to compensate any demons. And these gang stalkers are broke. They can't even pay their bills while they're out stalking me 24 hours a day. This is the P.O.C. It is currently 6:03 a.m. This is P.O.C. And yesterday morning while I'm standing at this intersection reminding you about my location in Upland, California, while I'm under the fake sun, 9:36 a.m., this is the location where the entity is indeed stalking. That is not a flight with any passengers aboard it. That's not a takeoff either. And this is miles away, northwest, over 4 miles away from the airport, where the entity would be conducting a takeoff that's completed in the sky space above that airport at 2500 Airport Road. This is Starbucks. I've documented this literally hundreds of times. Starbucks is engaged in the pattern of conduct. Starbucks that committed kidnapping. This is all the evidence that's already working. It's already just sitting on the record, and the entity is going to be subject to a systematic prosecution. This is the P.O.C. This is the entity that is stalking. You are stalking while I'm walking away from your venue, just like at Wendy's. And Southwest Airlines is stalking me on Holt Boulevard. And you're looking at what's supposedly coming from the same airport, stalking me on Euclid Avenue and doing a U-turn as I walk out of the restroom of where the sex offenders of Starbucks are gang stalking. This is the same entity that is engaged in what is stalking while they're completing purchases, 8NVF660. And this is how this business operates while they're molesting with light as they open and close the door, while the entity keeps the fake sun aimed on me inside of this venue, while the sex offenders are stalking with impossible light, both on the inside and the outside of the venue, where the entity is stalking by plane. Yesterday morning, the evidence at 9:36 a.m., where this entity is stalking by plane, and this is the evidence that I was referring to while Upland, California had the fake sun over me. And the entity is maintaining the fake sun right here at this intersection coming from St. George Catholic Church that is gang stalking with the entity that is stalking by planes, including at that venue. And this is what I'm referring to. The entity is engaged in a pattern of conduct that directly incriminates 8UZT 870, who doesn't have to say anything, and stating that you don't know me is legally irrelevant and you do not have a defense, and it is criminal presence on the roads and the highways where surveillance is underway. This is the P.O.C. Starbucks has the fake sun and the fake sunset. Moreover, this is an entity that is already fully surrounded with evidence. Balbi was subject to federal prison, not just prison, but deportation. She is stalking in the path. The heavily documented ARCO employee, gang stalking, systematically, serially gang stalking. This is federal prison. All of their employees, by the way. The entities engaged in this on the roads and the highways in concert with the entities stalking very heavily at this location. Criminal summoning, engaging in what is stalking by helicopters, stalking by commercial planes under the fake sunrise and set. And the entities engaging in this pattern of conduct while they are moreover monitoring the evidence. And that is an unlawful threat posed by any corporation to keep your evidence of them stalking you under surveillance, and then to engage in more terrorism, stalking you. It is terrorism when a corporation is stalking you. That's what Starbucks is doing. And that is more terrorism while they act to obstruct justice and in furtherance of murdering you, which is what Starbucks' criminal activity is proof of, especially while I'm subject to terrorism. And you can see the pattern of conduct as I show you and remind you about Wendy's yesterday. Same airport, totally different conduct, two distinct locations, same pattern of conduct. This is the P.O.C. It is currently 6:14 a.m. where Starbucks is engaged in what is vagina monitoring. Housing community, not flying over the city hall or the senior center or the library, and engage in what is underscoring Starbucks' engagement in that pattern of conduct. This is the mental illness. This is the entity stalking by helicopter, the psychotic break that occurs after I document, and this is the mental illness that you need to know is a threat to your safety. The entity that knows that you are aware that they're demons, they're not invisible, they're not magical, will engage in blowing up buildings, will engage in crashing planes and helicopters, will engage in crashing their vehicles into each other. These are weapons. They're going to be removed off the roads and the highways, and they do so when they are found guilty, beyond a reasonable doubt, even to a scientific degree. And they're doing so to their own demise. You're being deported, you're going to prison, you're losing custody of your children that are gang stalking as well, who will threaten the entity, and you are being prosecuted. Starbucks is already prosecuted. Their employees that are inside are going to prison. The entities engage in another psychotic break as the mental illness is underscored, exhibited while they are witnessing their own conviction. Starbucks is engaged in the pattern of conduct as I've isolated them, targeted them with evidence. They have a whole playlist with hundreds and hundreds of video evidence. But the entities engage in the pattern of conduct. While I'm up in California, Starbucks is a part of the entity. And I prove that by going to Starbucks and showing you Starbucks targeting me. Okay? This is the pattern of conduct. Starbucks is engaged in domestic terrorism. And that is what is terrorism, while corporations like Starbucks are gang stalking you in furtherance of murder while they sell you a product. This is P.O.C. And psychopathic pacing is showing that they're mentally ill. And the mentally ill are also unfit to be serving you food, to be handling food, to be in the food industry, which is also a basis for automatic prison. Okay, this is P.O.C. This is the third plane. That's the entity that's gang stalking and doing so while they're listening to what is triggering to them. Evidence that's going to put them in mental institutions, including the mentally ill homosexuals that are stalking in these commercial airline planes. And the airline industry, I hope you are paying attention. This has long been established. You do not have a defense under the law. I am prosecuting you while the pattern of conduct is facilitated by virtue of the engagement of commercial planes. This is P.O.C. 29022U3. Criminal presence in the path, activity creation, federal stalking. They go in and out of the venue and engineer light, molesting while they open and close. These are the demons, the Nephilim that's maintaining establishments like Starbucks that is engaged in the corrupt and perverted business of vagina monitoring. And it is terrorism. Corporations gang stalking are engaging in terrorism, and that is underscored while the terrorists start stalking more frequently, pacing by planes. This is underscoring exactly what I said. Light activity, amplified audible activity, psychopathic pacing in the venue, in the specific environment, fake sunrise and set, fake moon at night, underscored by the hallmark of stalking by helicopter, and doing so more if you document them. This is the entity that's engaged in that. Starbucks is engaged in domestic terrorism while this corporation is stalking. That's why it's Starbucks in Montclair, Starbucks in Ontario at Vineyard, Starbucks in Ontario at San Antonio and Holt, Starbucks in Los Angeles in Pomona off of Mission, Starbucks in Pasadena, Starbucks that I'm documenting in every city that I go to where the government is prosecuting you. You are a terrorist and you are being federally prosecuted as the corporate entity, and they hire demons that are gang stalking you in furtherance of murder, and they keep your genitalia under surveillance, and they're psychopaths that are acting like it's not happening. Because the body of evidence is proving what is mental illness while they behave like that and gang stalk you. This is the prosecution of the corporation, P.O.C. That's the entity that's engaging in what is vagina monitoring, 29022U3. That's the federal RICO. Starbucks is being prosecuted for more than violation of the RICO, okay, of the RICO laws. This is P.O.C. Just so you can see, Southwest Airlines at stalking at Wendy's is stalking while I'm walking north of Euclid Ave. Southwest Airlines is engaging in stalking while they are following me as I'm walking north of Euclid Avenue. That is terrorism, while Southwest Airlines is a corporation gang stalking. That corporation, which represents the people of the state, gang stalking as a corporation, is speaking to what the entity, the entire entity, the people of the state, license 8TTG 285, the people of the state at Raybon Mortgage, premium 536 North Euclid Avenue, 537 North Euclid Avenue. The corporation, as I'm coming from Starbucks, Southwest Airlines is flying closer. They were flying over the opposite corner as I walk north. So does Southwest. Southwest is also stalking on Holt Boulevard as I'm coming from Wendy's. Holt Boulevard and what is Euclid Avenue at F Street is a far cry, especially when you're coming from the same terminal, if you're not stalking. Southwest Airlines is a corrupt company operated by the mentally ill who are very much engaged in sacrificing themselves. That is their physical life and the lives of others, including the life of that corporation, because they are, and that corporation under the law is obsessed with me. That corporation is engaged in terrorism. That corporation is stalking, just like Starbucks is, just like the venues where you are being gang stalked at are. They are monitoring with that government. This is that P.O.C., and this is evidence to show you that Starbucks is stalking. Okay, while I walk away and the entity is following me, Starbucks is stalking while you are subject to that at that venue. This is showing you that Wendy's is stalking. Wendy's is stalking while I'm at that venue, while I leave that venue and the fake sun is over my head and Southwest Airlines is stalking me, pursuing me. And none of these locations where Southwest Airlines is hovering are a product of taking off, headed to a destination, and they don't have any passengers aboard these planes either. Southwest Airlines is the guise of gang stalking, which is committed in furtherance of murder, which Southwest Airlines is fully apprised of. In concert with the people of the state, the demons that have the ability to engage in what is the psychopathic, not magical, psychopathic conduct of stalking with impossible light, as I've documented, at this intersection, fake sunrise and sunset. And guess who else is documented here? The demon possessed that are engaged in terrorism. Police departments that are gang stalking, like the Ontario Police Department, not a police department. And they are here stalking at this intersection, monitoring me, kidnapping, stalking with light during sunrise to sunset hours. And that is a matter of evidence for the world to witness as well. They are being disbanded while Southwest Airlines is stalking. And Southwest Airlines is stalking people of the state who engage in violence while they stalk you conspicuously. Look to the left and the right. All right, this is the P.O.C. You can't hide those ears or that nose. And you also can't hide stalking pattern of conduct. The entity, you're always looking at the same thing. I capture the video and a demon comes they come right into the camera lens. This is the entity, that's obsession. All right, that's obsession. That's the entity that is psychotic. And this is the entity that's going to be subject to martial law. Upon martial law, corporations like Starbucks, corporations like Wendy's, corporations like Southwest Airlines, they're going to cease to exist. You're exhausting the pockets. They're profiting, making money, misrepresenting their purpose and the business, while they are engaging in conspiring murder, psychologically torturing their customers. I'm a customer. Okay, and I'm also one that has a right to, even when I'm not flying Southwest, which I don't fly Southwest, but there's a reason why that's such a ghetto airline. There's a reason why the entity they're not interested in maintaining any sort of legitimate airline. They're monitoring the government. That's the government. They form corporations to engage in the P.O.C. and Southwest Airlines is being federally prosecuted, and that is terrorism while corporations are stalking you. And that is Exhibit B, Southwest Airlines. And the corporations are stalking you when the people of the state are outside of that business during business hours and outside of business hours stalking. You are stalking. This is vicarious conduct on behalf of the government. They are all third parties acting together on behalf of that public entity that's also proving that by stalking by helicopter. This is that entity that's engaging in it. And this is the P.O.C. I'm not being mean to people when I'm calling out gang stalkers with large ears and a hanging down nose. His nose that's hanging down off of his face. This is the demon that's gang stalking. That's why he's being depicted that way, and this is exactly what he's doing. And Southwest is doing it with him. Southwest Airlines is a third party, okay? This is the P.O.C. When you're going into Starbucks and conducting a purchase, you're committing a crime. It's a crime scene. They're not free to engage in any of that, and this is revealing the malice of that and revealing what is the disguise of criminal activity. And that is like I said, at Starbucks, I'm proving that Starbucks is a terrorist. I walk away from Starbucks, it's proving that Starbucks is a terrorist. This is the P.O.C. No more U-turns over Euclid Avenue, which is an admission that you're stalking in the first place. And you're doing so while you are stalking as an airline. Understand how psychotic those are who are preparing your coffees and and understand those who are as psychotic as they are going to consume it while their purpose is to stalk somebody. That's psychotic. This is the demon possessed that don't have a purpose. Their businesses don't even have a legitimate purpose. Their businesses are for the criminal engagement in the P.O.C. Surveillance, vagina monitoring. This is P.O.C. It is currently, upon walking away from the venue, this is the P.O.C. Remember, the entity is stalking by Southwest Airlines that's originating from Terminal 4. None of that is what's ongoing here. Southwest Airlines is a stalker. That's why they're stalking me at the Grove Apartments at H Street and Euclid Avenue, which is north of this location. This is already on the record. This is why Southwest Airlines is stalking, doing U-turns over the Ovid Family Community Library City Hall area. This is already on the record. The entity is engaging in what is all manner, the plethoric locations where one terminal is not associated with anything that Southwest Airlines is doing. Southwest Airlines is stalking, and so is the Ontario International Airport that's being shut down. And those that are in positions of authority, this is the evidence prosecuting you as terrorists, just like the employees of Starbucks. Alrighty, this is the P.O.C. Just like the FAA is engaged in terrorism while airports are shown to be targeting, like the Los Angeles International Airport, like John Wayne, like Ontario International Airport, like Cable Airport. This is P.O.C. It is currently 6:24 a.m. It's engaged in what is violence. This is conspicuous surveillance that the people of the state are engaged in. As conspicuous while they're crossing paths on the roads and the highways. 44131 Wendy 1, P.O.C. Psychopathic pacing while a demon just sits there monitoring you. Monitoring is in furtherance of murder. It's not free speech, it's not protected, and they're going to be subject to martial law, P.O.C. And that's the proof of it. And as you can see, the mentally ill engage in more criminal activity that they are responsible for, because the mindset of the mentally ill, the psychopath, is I'm already caught and I'm humiliated because I'm caught, and so I'm going to engage in more of that. They will crash more planes. They will shoot and engage in attacking more people. They will commit more of that crime. Where they first sought to engage in this as demons, they're not even humans. The demon possessed wanted to do so and had a high sense of pride and arrogance, thinking that you would never know about it. They're humiliated by being discerned as demons, and then they're engaging in criminal activity. That's what's stalking. That's the motivation, the mindset behind a psychopath that's admittedly and openly engaging in criminal activity that hundreds of people at the same time are being prosecuted for, while Southwest Airlines maintains another flight. Okay, Starbucks is stalking here. This is a gang stalking. This is facilitation regarding stalking with light. While the demons are, this is pacing. While this demon is a stationary presence in front of a venue. The P.O.C. while the entity is stalking in the path in the sky space. This is psychopathic pacing. P.O.C. This is the entity that's engaged in that, and these are the drug addicts that go to Aegis, by the way, that come from around the corner. They're getting their drugs from Aegis, which is a gang stalker as well. This is the entity that the drug addicts like to come over here gang stalking while they're monitoring with the government. This is P.O.C. Alrighty, psychopathic pacing, a direct indication regarding psychopathic disorders. This is P.O.C. These corporations are being shut down. They're going to first be exhausted, and they're going to be shut down. And the people of the state are being removed from being on the roads and the highways, which is a privilege. It's not a constitutional right. And gang stalking on the roads and the highways is outside of that privilege, and it's proven beyond a reasonable doubt. This is P.O.C. All right, reliable properties, 8 UPE 484 is stalking with the entity that's following with plane activity. 7238 REY, stalking with light in the path is what you'll see, surveillance in the parking lot. All right, I'm gonna take a picture of that. This is what the gang stalker looks like while they are stalking outside of Starbucks, and the entity is flying over by Southwest. This is the entity that's engaging what is stalking in the path while the government is following you around in planes and helicopters. License 8 ZUB 921, and this is what is reliable properties gang stalking. This is P.O.C. This is the Latino male staring, the demon possessed, the mentally ill, staring at their devices while the government is they're monitoring. All right, and they're also mentally ill. License plate KENDY 7. License. And this is reliable properties criminal activity. License 9BPT031. And this is reliable properties that is stalking. Corporations that are stalking are engaged in terrorism. License 51151 Edward 4 9SHL 556. All right, this is the entity criminal presence in the path, including the entity that is stalking in the sky space, which is reliable properties. You are going to compensate me for terrorism. And that's a criminal engagement in that pattern of conduct with the government, which you are with knowledge engaging in, because you yourselves are third parties gang stalking in California. I'm prosecuting you and proving your guilt in that. This is the P.O.C., the venue at what is G Street and Euclid Avenue, while the entity is stalking in the path, engaging in what is flying. Now I'm at G Street, where the entity was stalking at what is F Street, and before that, as I'm capturing at Starbucks, stalking at E Street in Euclid, doing U-turns over the center of the street, trying to avoid my capture. As I capture, that is embarrass the mentally ill who are demons.
then they openly engage in the criminal activity right on camera, and that is translated to you as what is a threat to national security. That's just the stalker, that's just the terrorist showing that they will engage in more acts of terrorism because they find a sense of superiority in not being caught. Since they are caught, they're humiliated. They reason in their minds to engage in more of it, as though they never, I didn't care, I wasn't trying to get away. That's literally the sick process that they go through. This is an entity that's engaging what is trying to make a point by killing themselves and killing other people because they're humiliated for being caught in that which they intended to get away with. This is the entity that's stalking. Doing so, this is Reliable Properties. Reliable Properties is being federally prosecuted for psychological torture. You're being prosecuted as a stalker. You're being prosecuted as one that's engaged in what is terrorism. Okay? This is P.O.C. It is currently, while the people of the state are on the property where you are profiting. You're profiting from criminal activity, and you are profiting as third parties. The people of the state that are on your venue, the people of the state that are maintaining, occupying the venue, the people of the state that are employed, regardless of any sort of license, 9SHL556, that's an Asian male. The entities engaging in this pattern of conduct while they are monitoring with you. Your third-party status is based on agency with the public entity, not that you are employing anybody at Pizza Hut. That's not the basis of it. And you are gang stalking in the same manner that Pizza Hut is gang stalking me. And moreover, you're profiting while Pizza Hut is in the shopping plaza gang stalking me with the government that's stalking by helicopter, by planes, by the fire department, the police department, and the ambulances under a fake sun, the crime scene that's remaining, while you, Reliable Properties, are profiting from it. And you are engaging in that. This is the P.O.C. Moreover, this is an entity that's going to be criminally liable for that which it is engaging in, regardless of whether you admit to knowledge. I don't know that my property is a venue where the American citizens are, that's legally irrelevant. You're being prosecuted. This is P.O.C. It is currently 6:33 a.m. Moreover, Reliable Properties is aware of it. Just want to be clear. Reliable Properties is as aware of it as the entity that's flying over the top of my head right now on the sidewalk where I'm facing what is the entity that is gang stalked by commercial planes, and they wanted to get even more precise, so they got a smaller plane to fly right over the top of my head, and this is what they're doing in Upland, California. This is what they're doing while I am documenting the pattern of conduct, and this is the entity that is engaging in that. Reliable Properties is also aware of who I am and what I'm documenting. And Reliable Properties is going to be prosecuted for that malicious engagement in that criminal system with the public entity that is now prosecuting you for me. This is the P.O.C. and you are criminally and civilly liable. This is the P.O.C. It's 6:34 a.m. That's not sunlight that you can see in this video while the entity is crossing path. Pay attention to the employees of the municipality that are gang stalking. The shadow of that truck on the opposite side of the street is moving across the Pizza Hut wall. 715 North, where I'm documenting the sunset, where this entity is stalking me in the evening. This is also how you know that Reliable Properties is aware. Under the law, your awareness, your knowledge is proven through the specific environment where a fake sun is remaining, a fake sun that's remaining over Reliable Properties headquartered in Los Angeles. This is the entity that's engaged in that, and your knowledge is shown through the, not only but the entity that is targeting me while I document you. You are being federally prosecuted. You are not innocent, and you are also civilly liable. I'm going to drain the pockets of Reliable Properties and all of the gang stalkers that are targeting me through Reliable Properties. Reliable Properties itself, the corporation, is targeting, and this is impossible light activity. While they are on both sides of the street, this is the entity that's engaging in that. That's impossible light activity. It's also impossible because 12 hours later, the fake sun is still here, and that government that is aware of who I am and is targeting me specifically has a fake sun in alignment to me. And it is also keeping that fake sun in alignment to me in the evening when I'm targeted by Reliable Properties, by helicopter. Reliable Properties, that is a terrorist, in concert with the terrorist Pizza Hut, in concert with the terrorist I.I.S, Heavenly Nails and Spa, the corporations that are engaging in the pattern of conduct. You are being federally prosecuted, and the government is testifying against you, while your co-defendants are on the venue of the property, aiding in the charges against you, prosecuting you. This is P.O.C. It is currently 6:36 a.m. at G Street and Euclid Avenue. Reliable Properties that's engaged in the criminal pattern of conduct. This is P.O.C. And here is Southwest Airlines that is stalking and comes with the entity that's flying over the top of my head. Alrighty, this is P.O.C. Southwest Airlines is stalking at Hope Boulevard and Pleasant Avenue. As I'm documenting coming from Wendy's, Southwest Airlines is stalking at what is F Street and Euclid as I'm coming from Starbucks. Southwest Airlines is stalking at G Street and Euclid while I am at Reliable Properties under the fake sun that is present in the morning, where the vehicles, the shadow of the vehicles are appearing in this light activity over here. This is not the sunrise. This is the crime scene where the specific environment is present. That's why this fake sun is over me at this same location 12 hours later. This is the P.O.C. And the entity is maintaining this while I am of documenting the maintenance of what the crime scene. This is stalking in the path the entity has still not engaged in any takeoff, okay? Southwest Airlines is engaging and providing to you the threat that they are as a corporation. This is a warning, okay? Southwest Airlines, under the guise of what is being called merely another corporation's name, is the same public entity. Delta Airlines crashing into a military helicopter. UPS crashing into a building in Kentucky. I literally want to be clear, the 9/11 commercial planes into the Twin Towers, and we were described and told about terrorists from on the opposite side of the world, which the United States government is a part of. That was a self-sacrificial act, an act of murder, criminal activity. The same airline companies are engaged in gang stalking in California. They absolutely engaged in what is murder with the people of the state. They murdered the people of the state. These are demons, these are bots. The entity engages in sacrificing them all the time. So absolutely, they engage in acts of terrorism. The same ones that are in service to this system are the same ones that the government sacrifices when they engage in this demonic system of surveillance. And they do so also as treasonous terrorists. They engage in this with those outside of the country. So the entity is engaging in what is targeting us with those that are abroad, engaging in acts of terror with those that are abroad, and engaging in what is maintaining an illusion about the details and the facts, and leaving out the fact that the United States is a terrorist and is engaged in what is domestic terrorism. All right, that's the P.O.C. The airline companies are a core part of that, and that's what's behind Southwest Airlines clearly stalking somebody while it is being documented. That's how much of a terrorist the entity is. That's speaking to mental illness, suicidal conduct, the type of suicide where they will crash planes that they are on, that these demons are on, in order to harm one person, okay? Engaging in what is harming because they are, for example, embarrassed about the truth, engaging in what is harming as many people as they can before they face consequences, et cetera, et cetera. That's the mindset behind what Southwest Airlines is doing in front of the world, okay? P.O.C., the entity is engaging what is, you can see that there's no flights. This is the entity, these planes have no passengers on them. You're not going anywhere. They're stalking. And it's a prosecution of reliable properties. Pizza Hut, all these companies that are not going to survive a prosecution. They're not going to survive when I'm done prosecuting them. This is the P.O.C. It is currently 6:39 a.m. where the government's criminal system is proven through the absurdity of the environment and the absurdity of the stalkers that lose self-control the moment that I speak on their criminal conduct. They have psychotic breaks. That's what Southwest Airlines is engaging in. That's what the entity is doing while they are stalking in the environment. The fake sun is rising earlier. The entity is maintaining the fake sun while I'm walking to Upland, as I documented yesterday, giving you a screenshot showing the fake sunrise as I'm walking toward Upland, California, and while the fake sun was rising at the Ovid Family Community Library, and I captured that at the same time. And this is also where the fake sun is setting. That's how you know it's a fake sunrise. This is where the light source, they're all stalking with light monitoring. So in the demonic environment, the entity is maintaining an environment that's supposed to appear natural. You're never supposed to question it. That's also why the demons are embarrassed. When they're embarrassed, they engage in criminal activity, acts of terrorism. These are in fact the mentally ill. Okay, this is P.O.C. It is currently 6:40 a.m. All right, you see what Reliable Properties is guilty of? The same conduct that is underway Upland, California. This is the fake sun. It's 1544 North Euclid Avenue, where I've been here, and this fake sun that is subdued right now, while stalkers are on the 10 freeway, 6 MOC 224, in furtherance of murder, stalking on the roads and the highways with children in the car, under the fake sun, stalking with the government that flew right over the top of my head. This is stalking. License. This is, again, lesbians, women that are stalking me, 9BMY 416. 8VYE 085. This is psychopathic pacing, demons, the Nephilim, that are maintaining freeways in California. This is mental illness. This is criminal surveillance. This is the P.O.C. License GODZ42U. Okay, she's speaking about the lowercase god that she serves. Where she's a demon under the fake sun. She's monitoring with the government that just flew over my head. It doesn't matter what you have on your license plate. You know them by their deeds. She's gang stalking. The entity's engaging in this pattern of conduct, and they're engaging in this at the same intersection where the fake sun is present. UPS is stalking at this freeway. The entity's gang stalking through the commercial planes. There's no commercial planes in Upland. There's no commercial airline companies that are flying through, hovering, moreover, like what I'm documenting. The entity's also doing it, regardless of the type of plane, under the fake sun. Okay, this is the P.O.C. as I've documented this historically. You're talking about hours from now. It's 7:18 a.m. right now. The entity maintaining this fake sun at this location. I've been documenting in the middle of the afternoon aboard Omnitrans. In the morning at sunrise time, around approximately the same time while the fake sun is blazing shining, humongous light source hovering right over, and these psychopaths, these demons are pacing and engineer light moving all across the walls. This is historic. While the entity's stalking by helicopter, engaging in criminal summoning, AMR, Upland Police, the gang stalkers that are monitoring. There is a history of evidence right here at 1544 North Euclid Avenue at the 10 freeway. The city of Ontario and the city of Upland that are sharing in the P.O.C. And this is obsession. This isn't coincidentally getting off the freeway. This is stalking. And it's the entity's engagement in stalking, which is supposed to coexist with the maintenance. The way that it's literally constructed is to facilitate and enable convenient surveillance and stalking. Okay? That's the entity that's engaging in the program of psychological torture. And it's also exposing what is actually their mental illness. When your psychological torture tactics, they don't work and everybody sees that you're a psychopath. Light LPS 887, flying over my head by planes. You're being prosecuted. License 9BVA 189. License 9H22515. License 9FIR 567. These are the same demons that drive by and Impossible Light shoots off of their car. What equipment is Honda, Toyota, Subaru making to make their vehicles engage in that? These are demons. And it's psychopathic pacing, stalking. It's more than stalking, it's monitoring. That's why they're doing it over and over and over again. And it is occurring under the guise of what's supposed to be appear natural. Traffic. This is not traffic, it's surveillance. That's why the fake sun remains over me, not over them. 8NXA 391. And women that are stalking other women, stalking and monitoring and obsessed with their genitalia, seeking to consume their bodily fluids are not just stalkers and mentally ill. Those are demons who are also in the physical. While they're demon-possessed females, those are homosexuals by definition. I am not exaggerating. And you need to understand the purpose and what homosexuality is about. It's demonic. This is P.O.C. This is the fake sun over me at the 10 freeway. The entity stalking me by helicopter. This is all documentation of those that are, and they're all subject to federal prison. So I have a pool of defendants, and you're talking about any and every, all of them are subject to federal prison while I document them engaging in terrorism in my face, documenting that. The entity is stalking me by helicopter as I'm documenting at this same bridge in the evening, where the fake sun, subdued or not, will never be here, and it's never in Florida while my evidence coexists. And this is also how you know that they're stalkers. There's no color of your car. There's no license plate. There is no position that you are sitting in. Nobody that's in your car that's deviating from that evidence that you cannot rebut or contend with. You can't conflict with that. You're not under any circumstances contradicting based on what psychopaths, the size of the plane, the type of restaurant, the type of people that are there that are present are demons. They're all demons. They're all under the fake sun. This is irrefutable and undeniable evidence about it. This is P.O.C. This is what was stalking in Southwest Airlines planes in Ontario, knowing exactly where I'm at, maintaining activity. Okay, they just threw up this sign right here. It's light activity because I'm standing here. The entity engaging what is stalking on the side of the freeway. This truck right here, light activity, monitoring. These are monitoring spirits. This is the system that the entity implemented that has stolen my money, stolen my identity, engaged in using the court system to confirm and make it official, while they are engaged in what is a system regarding theft, regarding murder and theft. And also, this is the entity that's gang stalking to obstruct justice because they already stole from me and didn't want to give me my money back. So this is why you have the military stalking in Southwest Airlines planes, stalking me at Starbucks, which is a part of this entity that stole from me, stalking me while I'm at F Street in Euclid, the entity that stole from me, the drug addicts that are getting their poison from Aegis, that's gang stalking me, part of that entity. Having these drug addicts gang stalking me with impunity right in plain view on the roads and the highways. This entity stole from me and engages in what is gang stalking, which is not going to help them in obstructing justice. It shows you how they engage in murdering American citizens and then defaming their character while they are monitoring spirits, which is demon possessed. They're not even humans. These are the demon possessed that are gang stalking. T769 Victor 0 P.O.C. This is why the non-humans are under a fake sun. As I've shown you, these non-humans engaged in stealing from me. And they do so with the people of the state, people that you're related to, people that you are associated with, which is the purpose of Tracy Banks. But understand, this is the whole system. This is the whole system. Military, gang stalking police, gang stalking ambulances, gang stalking hospitals, gang stalking medical professionals, gang stalking attorneys in courthouses, gang stalking sheriffs like Shannon Dykes. And I'm prosecuting comprehensively, I'm prosecuting. This entity tried to kill me after stealing from me, and now you are the one that's going to be prosecuted for it. Up to and including prison for terrorism. This is P.O.C. It is currently 7:24 a.m. This is evidence of the fake sun. This is it. And the entity is engaging in what is stalking with light activity, ongoing facilitation. P.O.C. Alrighty, it's 7:39 a.m. The entity is keeping the fake sun over me at 7:36 a.m. yesterday in Ontario. Omnitrans, that you already know is a gang stalker, is maintaining a method. This is trying to, how can I stalk her and monitor her and facilitate that with the people at the intersection while she's using her phone? This is while they're coming to me. They do so, oh, we're going to service the bus stop. I'm documenting the entity gang stalking under the fake sun that remained at Family Community Library yesterday. It's on video at 7:36 a.m. The video at 7:12 a.m. The entity follows me with the fake sun to St. George, then Bethel Congregation, and remains over me. It's at Wendy's. The entity followed up North Euclid Avenue. This is the P.O.C. This is the prosecution of the public transit line that's going to be put out of business. Omnitrans represents a corporation, and it is also the public entity. This is the public entity that formed a corporation that's engaged in terrorism, and it's mental illness while they keep their back to you. Oh, I'm busy, I'm doing this. This is psychopathic. The entity is engaged in criminal facilitation, SK154, and this employee is subject to prison for this. This is the pattern of conduct that they engage in, and the corporation itself is being drained. Understand, Alan D. WAPNER, the same gang stalking demons that are on these San Bernardino County leaders, like the entity that's on the same authority board of the airport. You'll see a lot of the same names that are gang stalking, and they are engaged in criminal facilitation, 1757135. This is criminal facilitation while the entity has a fake sun also in the evening where you can recognize Omnitrans that's engaged in the conspiracy to murder me. Doing so while you are enabling hundreds of people at one time to monitor. That's light activity, which is a federal offense. It's an act of terrorism. And it's impunity while they are conspicuously engaging in violence. Stalking you in your face is violence while they're levying war against you. This is where you've seen the Ontario Police, California Highway Patrol, and Upland Police at this intersection pacing. This is where you see the entity in the evening, 12 hours from now. 11 hours from now, stalking by helicopter. And Omnitrans is coming and engaging in light activity. Okay, coming and emptying the garbage as close as you'll get inside of the library, going, sitting right next to me, standing right next to me, staring at the computer, staring at the book, all under the fake sun. Okay, this is the P.O.C. This is mental illness, and they are unfit to be on the roads and the highways. P.O.C. License 8XDE042, K385Y1, License 9POG151. This is the pattern of conduct. Alrighty? And this is the same street. Remember everything that you've seen. You've seen Amazon Prime gang stalking in the evening. Like nobody knows that the Nephilim are carrying around packages. They also use those packages to commit acts of violence, by the way. Those same packages that they're using to engage in stalking you conspicuously. Doing so more so while they are documented as violent terrorists who are mentally ill, operating corporations. This is what Bezos is guilty of. And Bezos' engagement in terrorism with the U.S. government includes Amazon Prime. This is the P.O.C. The fake sun is over me at the same time in Ontario at the Ovid Family Community Library, which is how you're recognizing the Nephilim. The Nephilim are being subject to martial law. They're being prosecuted. They're being put off the roads. They're being taken down. They're not flying any planes. They are literally a threat to you while they're gang stalking me, and I'm documenting it. P.O.C. Everybody that I document, they are within the pool of defendants that are subject to prison. Okay, this is P.O.C. Alrighty, this is P.O.C. IRLND15. This is the entity that's gang stalking as one. Flying over the top of my head at the 193 South Euclid Avenue. There is an entire playlist that will show you the fake sun from morning until evening, stalking me by helicopter, stalking me by the people of the state, 6KHR530. And stalking by Metrolink, which is light activity. It is currently 7:52 a.m., so Metrolink is used as a means of massive facilitation. This is the operation of the train line, while they also deviate from their published schedule, which is also the pattern of conduct. While they operate the business of Metrolink, it's gang stalking with the state, with the government that's flying over my head, stalking me by helicopter. The military and the gang stalking police departments are engaged in the pattern of conduct and furtherance of murder. Metrolink is being federally prosecuted for this. Metrolink is gang stalking. Fake sun is still over me on Euclid Avenue, and the entity is maintaining what is the bus schedule where the people of the state are gang stalking, and Metrolink is making money off of it. That's the federal RICO case. Metrolink is intentionally targeting in that specific environment where it's amplified inside of a library. Impossible audible activity, even while you're sitting here on video, you're sitting here, you're looking at the train, and you cannot hear that inside of the library. But this is, again, no scientific or intelligent conduct that the demons are engaged in, but it is scientific evidence that the sun is not going to remain over one street, let alone over one person, that documents that phenomenon. That is identifying corporations as stalkers. A corporation that is stalking you is engaging in terrorism. And they're doing so in furtherance of the entity that is stalking on the roads and the highways. Stalking as commercial actors. Burtech is doing so because they know that I documented them stalking right here. So you're gonna document Burtech. Burtech is getting a playlist. Burtech is going to be prosecuted. This is a gang stalking corporation. 47458 Windy 3. Under the fake sun, they're monitoring the evidence. Where guess what? The driver, their prize is prison. When they're stalking with Upland police that are engaging in criminal summoning during the 10 a.m. hour. It's only 7:53 a.m. So hours from now, the sun would have to still be here with regard to what the demons of Upland police are facing in court. And it's going to be mental examinations. It's going to be commitments upon prison. Okay, this is at P.O.C. However, this is why Burtech is gang stalking at this very moment right here. They're all stalking. All of them are stalking. This is the unintelligent tactics of demons that are operating vehicles that are representing the corporation. While you're going to drain, the only thing you're going to drain their pockets, and the little brokies are also going to be subject to payment as well. All these demons stole from me. And then the government is engaging what is targeting you while they're now conspiring to murder you. And that's not happening either. Now you know about what the United States government is engaging in. And now they're all going to be locked down. And how do you lock down? While you and maintain a psychiatric evaluation of the demons that are stalking you and try to lie on you like you're mentally ill. It's called criminal summoning by the demons that are monitoring. It's called martial law. Okay? Where they are stalking on the roads and the highways, under the fake sun, doing the same thing 10 hours later while they're monitoring the evidence. And it's incriminating all the corporations such as ARCO, such as Chevron, such as Burtech, such as the city of Upland that is gang stalking. This is in that. City of Upland is here in the... Okay, at the same intersection after 7 p.m., criminal summoning is utilized. And this is evidence that Chevron is stalking. Let me show you the fake sun that you know is here after 7 p.m. Where mental illness by Daniel Muncie. That's who's being evaluated right now as a terrorist. COLLIN SHEEHY, under the fake sun, P.O.C. This is an act of desperation, and it's also outwardly demonstrating mentally ill conduct, a mentally ill dysfunction, while the entity seeks to maintain that as a closeted condition. It's not closeted under the fake sun. This is the entity that is fearful. Understand what they're doing. They're engaging in psychopathic behavior, pacing, and the sirens and the helicopter conduct. It's gone from what is monitoring, and now that I'm prosecuting them, they are exposing their mental illness while they engage in this as a pattern. You'll recognize it when I start documenting them. License 9VRF500. Chevron is stalking, okay? She's the entity literally just engaged in stalking by criminal summoning. While she's doing so, that's an employee. License EM75, Robert 52, paper plate. The Corporation Quality Tree Services, tree trimming and tree removal. License 55064, Frank 3. Gang stalking and psychotic conduct such as stalking at gas stalls. They also are stalking in places like in bathrooms. They're stalking in places where they're not even learning, like at high schools. They're stalking in places like the roads and the highways, where you're seeing that fake sun that's over me at the same location. It is present after 7 in the evening. All right, and that's literally right here at this venue as well, where the entity engages in criminal summoning, which isn't changing the subject. It's showing that Burtech is engaged in very specific means of targeted harassment, and so are all of the rest of the people of the state who are under a fake sun, speaking to their knowledge, universal knowledge. License plate G62B1617, the federal government for years, by the way, documenting them while they're gang stalking under the fake sun, driving off when I start documenting. Yeah, I want you to see that. There you go, P.O.C. These are the demons that are stalking in planes and helicopters as well. The entity that's maintaining that environment in the specific environment. They want you want to know, they want you to know that, so I want you to see them. That's P.O.C. The entity's engaging in the P.O.C. while they are monitoring the evidence. This is where Upland police are stalking in the morning during the 10 a.m. hour, which is 3 hours from now. The entity's engaging in the natural environment. The sun would not be present at the same address, in other words, 3 hours from now. And the Upland police are exhibiting mental illness, the psychopathic disorder. You're stalking somebody. And not only do they know about it, you're engaging in what is exhibiting mental illness while you employ failed and heavily documented psychopathic patterns while you're engaging in psychological torture. I'm not looking at you, I'm not talking to you, and that's supposed to be proof that mental health professionals can use to diagnose you as being a paranoid schizophrenic when they are in fact showing and exhibiting high level of malice while they're engaging in criminal activity while in law enforcement, engaging in which is a furtherance of murdering you, committing crimes while they're a part of that, and the psychopathic behavior is shared by those that are maliciously targeting together. The Upland Police Department are a bunch of thieving demons that engage in gang stalking, which is not going to have me committed, it's going to have them committed. That's how they're here under a fake sun 3 hours later, and the employees literally at the venue are testifying against them. So are all the demons that are molesting with impossible light right now, and the demons in a San Bernardino County Fire Department vehicle. 92647 Kelly 4. And in that video, you saw the entity stalking by helicopter. Today, you see the entity stalking me, flying over the top of my head, targeting as well. That's the military that's engaged in that. Upland police are stalking and monitoring with the fire department and with the military. They are engaging in that pattern of conduct, and you can also clearly see it in playlists such as what is South Euclid Avenue in Upland, California, where I'm showing you all of these venues where the pattern of conduct is remaining underway, and demons are engaging in things such as stalking with impossible light. This is a white male, license 3NA96J, engaging in sexual assault and battery. Okay, this is the P.O.C. It is currently 7:58 a.m. and this is about Chevron that's being federally prosecuted. And Burtech that went out of their way to gang stalk me in this video is relevant to what is evidence of what they're doing with the Upland Police Department, which is why they're going to prison. Stalking with the police department is terrorism, in the same way that corporations that are gang stalking you is terrorism. Except for police departments that are gang stalking you, that's a license to murder. It's a license to murder, and it's a license to kidnap, and it's a license for a population to engage in the same when that police department is sharing in that criminal pattern of conduct. This is where we're getting to martial law. This is where you're getting to involuntary commitments. This is where you're getting to federal prison when you are stalking with those departments, sharing in the elements of monitoring, even while you're stalking at a gas stall under the fake sun with that department, which is what I documented. Everybody in that video is going to prison. P.O.C. It is currently 7:59 a.m. This is impossible light activity. That's not the product of sunlight, okay? This is and they're pacing. This is the mental illness while you go inside of the store. And this is a stalker that's stalking the inventory. This is stalking. And this is the proof of stalking. I don't need you to say anything to me. In fact, the more that you say, the more mentally ill you are being identified as by professionals that can see the mental illness through the behavior in the environment. This is P.O.C. and this is criminal activity of Chevron. Remember the fake sons at the Ovid Family Community Library yesterday. And even outside of that evidence, this is impossible light, okay? Not even the light in the ceiling is speaking to what is an explanation for this perpendicular light activity. Focusing on the products is the entity that is psychopathic, okay? The entity stalking by planes, following up North Euclid Avenue. Southwest Airlines is stalking me, and so are the people of the state. This is P.O.C. It's currently, this is ongoing noise. Everything, opening, closing, moving around. This is the P.O.C. That's supposed to be sunlight. So what is that? This is gang stalking inside of an establishment. This is the entity that's stalking me by the police and stalking by helicopters and planes, and they're monitoring me while the entity's flying over my head. So I just went on the side to give you a close-up of Chevron that's engaging in the P.O.C. It is, in the environment, 8:01 a.m. Oh, let me show you the fake sun. Alrighty, this is the entity that is indeed stalking at gas stalls, blocking the path as I walk back. Stalkers. That's blocking the path as soon as I walk away. P.O.C. That was a demon. Impossible light activity. These are all demons, but that was a demon. You saw it look like a headlight. She closes the door. The moment that my camera's aimed at, these are demons that are all stalking and monitoring. They're all concerned about me. All of them. They're all stalking. Demon after demon after demon after demon after demon, and the light is moving across the ground, flying through the air and scanning the wall while they are in the street. This is in the shade, the maintenance of that light in the shade, and this is also evidence that you are targeting. This is the same street where American Medical Response just was documented engaging in criminal summoning. American Medical Response that is stalking. You're also identifying the stalker by the location where it's at. Upland Unified School District is stalking. They are inside of that building stalking right now. After hours, where they're closed, where the establishment is not during business hours and the pattern of conduct is still underway. the Upland Unified School District is still being documented. They're engaged in ceaseless surveillance. That's why it's underway when they are open during business hours. It's not limited to the business hours. It's showing that you are engaging in that state surveillance system, and I will prosecute you by company name, by corporation, where I have proven you are gang stalking. And I've proven you have gang stalking where any business in California is gang stalking, by the way. 8EWE841. This is that P.O.C. The weed whacking, the lawnmowers, okay, the leaf blowers. This is the entity that is targeting, and this is the entity that's doing so on the roads and the highways. This is relevant to the video evidence of Southwest Airlines stalking, of the entity stalking at Starbucks, the entity that's engaging what is that psychopathic behavior the more that you document them. This is the entity that's engaging. You see the fake sun, and you see the vehicles, 9LXP445. There is no light shooting mechanisms that are a part of what you're purchasing. The manufacturers are not creating this. It's not the product of driving underneath in the natural environment or in what I have shown is the specific environment. It is supernatural. Sunlight's not ricocheting off of that. These are demons. It's supernatural conduct. 9ZIG623 is thus documented as a terrorist and a co-conspirator of murder, and they are without any legally relevant defense. You do not have one. And this is the government that is also stalking in this environment by helicopters. They're gang stalking at an Upland Unified School District. They are sex offenders maintaining a school district. That is access to children that they are raping and engaging in terrorism with. Literally on the building of the Unified School District is the P.O.C, the evidence of it, speaking to demons, the Nephilim, that are engaged in raping children while maintaining a school district, which is why I'm being gang stalked by that school district as well. This is the P.O.C. Remember, the entity is engaged in the pattern of conduct in the afternoon, in the evening, where the Mariposa monitoring, Mariposa has not learned its lesson yet, and that's why you're going to be prosecuted in the way that you are. This is called impunity. Staring at your device under the fake sun is the evidence of men stalking in the bathroom inside of the Upland Public Library, is the evidence of, again, lesbians that are gang stalking with the government under a fake sun. Going out of your way to do so. And how do you know that that's going out of its way? Because the fake sun is over here. You are stalking. And you're also stalking in a building. Scientific evidence that's used to diagnose your mental illness and also take you out of the closet as any sort of, you're not a closeted homosexual, you are an open, exposed, demon-possessed homosexual. Bathroom monitor that's walking by right now, okay? This is the P.O.C. Mariposa is gang stalking. That light activity you see along the wall, Mariposa is gang stalking. Mariposa is openly engaging in that and doing so while Mariposa is being targeted by the evidence of it. His jacket is lighting up. That's because the impossible light activity is reflecting off of him. It's impossible that it's This is the P.O.C. And while they engage in that, that's light activity he's monitoring. The demon-possessed are mentally ill. They are staring at their devices while they're stalking me obsessively. And it's going under the name of Mariposa. It's on the side of that vehicle. Mariposa, that's gang stalking. P.O.C. While you see this evidence, this is what the entity engages in. Flying over by helicopter, which is the admission of the Upland City Hall and everybody in that venue right here who are under the fake sun. At the same time that it's over me yesterday at the St. George Catholic Church. This is where the entity is engaging in what is the hallmark, stalking under a fake sun that you know is remaining over me at literally the same time yesterday while I'm at the intersection of Euclid Avenue and E Street, where the entity was stalking by commercial planes at Starbucks, coming from St. George Catholic Church. And this is what the entity is engaging in, what is that pattern of conduct, meaning they're motivated by this. While I'm capturing this and capturing screenshots showing you the city of Upland stalking with the city of Ontario, who are engaging in this environment. Hold on one second. The entity is engaging in what is stalking in the path, while the entity, this is the mentally ill. They engage in murders, they engage in rapes, they engage in criminal activity like nothing is happening while I'm showing you the pattern of conduct that the entity is engaged in while they have already been convicted, shown to be guilty. The entity is monitoring on my device pursuant to evidence that I documented yesterday as I compare it to the crime scene that is present in your face today. And it includes this, which I'm capturing right now, and it includes the serial stalker who's right here in the path. This is being added to the playlist. He's here stalking while I'm capturing this evidence of the specific environment. The entity that is very fearful of the weight of evidence is doing itself a disservice while I document, and you are admittedly engaging in monitoring, and you're also showing that the mayor is monitoring. You're also showing that the employees that are under the fake sun 7 hours from now still are monitoring. You're also showing that they're engaged in monitoring in places like bathrooms, that they're engaged in monitoring while they're operating fire trucks, while you are engaged in stalking me by helicopter, while I show you the crime scene. Today, while I am at the Upland Veterans monument where the entity is gang stalking with the military under a fake sun that's at the same time remaining over the St. George Catholic Church. The two are not happening at the same time, but I'm capturing that impossible maintenance of an environment, speaking to the demon-possessed that are gang stalking. And this is where this serial stalker is stalking me with the San Bernardino County Fire Department, who are in my path while he walks in front of me under the fake sun that I'm reminding you is at the same time, down to the same minute, in Ontario, California, over my head, which is where I'm showing you a serial stalker who is going to be committed and subject to prison, also stalking by helicopter. And it's the same with regard to the Upland Public Library, where the fake sun is over me and it's remaining over me at St. George Catholic Church, where the entity that is religious, practicing false religion, are engaging in the pattern of conduct with the entity that is stalking by helicopter. And this is where the entity is engaging in that P.O.C, where they're monitoring evidence. Okay, this is reference to Bill Valto, San Bernardino County Fire. This is a reference to not only COLLIN SHEEHY, but Daniel Muncie. This is criminal monitoring. The entity is engaging in terrorism. The demon-possessed, they are doing it now because they are fearful, and their fear is a national security threat. When the Nephilim are fearful, they commit bombings, they commit acts of terrorism, they kill people. This is not spreading any fear. This is giving you information which needs to be disseminated. The entity is gang stalking me, and they are anticipating going to prison. They are looking at the evidence being accumulated and put on the internet, and they are stalking in the path. This psychopath, nothing is open. All he's doing is monitoring, and this is a black-faced vagina monitor. This is no brother of mine. This is a demon. And this is a state actor. This is the P.O.C. This is the entity that's engaging in. This is psychopathic what he's engaging in. He's engaging in pacing. He goes to the city hall, he walks around, he's monitoring the entire time, and goes to the Upland Public Library, where the fake sun's at the St. George Catholic Church. At this time yesterday. It is currently 9:40 a.m. This is relevant to the demons that are inside. They're inside of the Upland Public Library right now. They're inside of the city hall, engaging in pacing, walking inside, walking outside, stalking with a fire department that's under a fake sun. Understand they're not engaged in firefighting, and they will be defunded accordingly. They're engaged in vagina monitoring all day long, and these are demons that are inferior, and they're very fearful. Sounding their sirens is relevant to criminal activity and monitoring by the person that's prosecuting them. All right, and this entity committed kidnapping. You are absolutely being defunded, and you're subject to prison, and you're done with engaging in surveillance, utilizing what are career fields, industries that are not even engaging in what they're representing to the public. They set fires and then go put them out themselves. That's what San Bernardino County Fire is engaged in. This is P.O.C. It's 9:41 a.m. under the fake sun that's remaining in Ontario yesterday. P.O.C. This is a rapist coming inside, stalking. Doing so with City of Upland. He's stalking also outside of the venue. I'm documenting him gang stalking with the entity sounding helicopter activity as I document. He's coming from the Upland City Hall. He crosses path gang stalking, and then he goes into the Upland Public Library, and he's here pacing back and forth. He goes to this computer, then he goes to the computer on the opposite side. He's stalking under the fake sun, which I'm going to show you right now. And this is video evidence that'll be juxtaposed with, for example, this demon being under the fake sun at the same reference desk at 3 o'clock in the afternoon, stalking upon my exit of the library at 6 and 7 p.m. The entity that is stalking, maintaining what are rapists, gang stalking males that are monitoring my vagina, engaging what is stalking conspicuous. All right, and this is the demon that's engaged in targeting by helicopter. He paced around me. That's a threat. You're mentally ill and you're a criminal that's stalking me on behalf of the government with the entity that's engaged under the guise of being an employee of the city. He's monitoring. This is P.O.C. The crime remains here. When they leave after they engage in their bit of the gang stalking, that's how you know that they're stalking, and they're engaging in that while the entity is stalking by planes and helicopters as well, which is also how you know that they're stalking, and the fake sun, which is remaining in Ontario. This is how you know that they are stalking. This is P.O.C. I want to document this is a threat, and this is why employees at venues are going to prison. All manner of rapists, criminals are gang stalking with the government, and gang stalkers that don't have a criminal record, they are equally criminal, equally psychopathic. This is an entity that's maintaining a corrupt system. So you are not aware of the demographics. You're not aware of the actual threat that the person next to you pose because this entity is engaged. All right, and that's what's relevant regarding a vagina monitor that's gang stalking at the Upland Public Library. This is P.O.C. Coming in here knowing what I documented about him. The fake sun's now on the opposite side of the library. It's at the entrance sidewalk. He's pacing around stalking while the entity's using a helicopter. P.O.C. As I turn my phones on, the entity's monitoring. This demon, this stalker, stands right here next to me. That's a threat. Okay, as you're analyzing it, engineer light, that's a threat. Okay, stalking by helicopter, that's a threat. This is the P.O.C. doing so with the employees, that's a threat. And you're going to document this. This is that pattern of conduct. He's already going to prison, so I'm going to go ahead and get this right here. You're going to federal prison for stalking with the government by helicopter.
And I'm going to show you the fake sun that moves around me while you're monitoring. And you're doing so while you're being prosecuted. The government's going to put you in prison for communicating that threat as an entity that thinks that numbers is going to cause you to be able to get away with criminal activity, and it's not at all. This is P.O.C. And this is somebody that's keeping my vagina under surveillance. These are sex offenders. This is the government that's engaged in this. P.O.C. It is currently 10:24 a.m. So Upland City Hall. He's gang stalking coming from Upland City Hall, and he enters in before 10 o'clock, and now he is stalking in the path, incorporating what's supposedly your job. This is the entity that's going to be defunded. Gang members are gang stalking with the city of Upland, and this is the serial stalker that's speaking to what they're all engaging in, the P.O.C. It is currently 10:25 a.m. This is obsession and mental illness. Alrighty, I want you to see what is impossible light activity created. Okay, while strangers, they're strangers to you, but those strangers are not strangers. Those strangers are familiar with you. So you do not know the gang stalkers, but the gang stalkers know you. And this large, black, bald male that's stalking by helicopter outside is engaged in criminal monitoring, entering into the Upland Public Library and this environment where he's engaging in conspicuous surveillance, which is psychopathic behavior. It's predatory, it's highly malicious, and it is an unlawful threat. And it's also under the law retaliatory conduct because I already documented him and this entity is monitoring evidence. So he enters into the Upland Public Library where you see there is no, the impossible light is supposed to be the product of the sun. And then you see the direction is supposed to be, this is sunlight because that's the sun, so this is sunlight. So I guess the sunlight is reflecting off of something over here, and this is what's causing the light activity. This is luminescing. This is focusing on me. This is the entity that is stalking. Impossible light is under the desk. This is all impossible light while the entity is stalking, and this is what is relevant behind the entity monitoring my engage in surveillance in bathrooms. This is exact circumstance of what is inside of Chevron. The fake sun is outside. I go inside of Chevron and you're looking at what is inexplicable light. The light that's manifesting out of nowhere while the employees of the Open Public Library are stalking me with psychopaths like this, a black-faced demon that's engaging in the criminal pattern of conduct by seating right in next in front of me. All right, right next to me. This is the entity that's engaging. You're going to be committed by engaging in this. You can see his face. He's going on X. And this is the mental illness that's diagnosed. He keeps the back of his head to me, gang stalking me. You're being diagnosed. Are going to prison. He's going to prison because he's stalking by helicopter. It's not. This is the city of Upland employee stalking by staring at computers. I'm fixing it. Stalking by refilling the stock of toilet paper. Stalking by coming in and hammering above my head like I'm documenting. Stalking by bringing your kids in to sing lullabies while you're engaging what is activity, criminal presence in the path, and doing so with the government that is stalking in the way in which I just captured upon entry by helicopter. All right, this is that P.O.C. and I want to show you the entity that's engaging in that and is monitoring me while I am documenting. You're already guilty. You're going to a mental institution stalking me in this manner conspicuously and stalking me while this absurd environment is around, showing the ongoing obsession that you have with me. Okay, showing the ongoing engagement in that criminal activity, wanting to stalk me and keep your back to me. You're psychotic. These are the rapists that are engaging in gang stalking. All right, this is the P.O.C. and these rapists go into the male restroom and keep my vagina under surveillance, stalk me with amplified audible activity, working for the city of Upland, exhibiting mental illness, not focused. You're not focused on anything other than gang stalking. This is the fake sun at 11:50 a.m. This is the entity that's engaged in that. This is the P.O.C. Cowards that keep their head down while they're engaged in vagina monitoring, all the same. And it's being prosecuted and it's being accumulated as evidence because they're going into mental asylums. They're going into mental institutions. They are going to prison. This is terrorism in the U.S. Okay? This is the P.O.C. It is currently 11:50 a.m. under this fake sun. My evidence is on the record where the entity is engaging in criminal summoning, amplifying helicopter activity, 1 o'clock in the afternoon, and the fake sun is over my head while they're monitoring my evidence. The demons are psychopaths looking forward, staring at the computer like nothing has happened, while the entity is amplifying train activity, which you cannot hear inside of the library, while the fake sun is sitting over this same venue where this entity that has this light activity that's on the floor on the upward portion of these walls after 5 o'clock in the evening, and the fake sun is still above the roof. This is the entity that's engaged in that. Okay, it doesn't matter if it's a lily white woman, with 2.5 kids. It doesn't matter if it's a purple Negro with a bald head, large stature, okay, and what you would describe as being more threatening because of that. It's threatening in the environment. Okay, it's threatening when you are conspicuously stalking. You're not more threatening because you're black versus white. You're more threatening while you're engaging in conspicuously stalking somebody, like you're going to get away with it. This is how psychotic they are. And that's what I'm speaking to. And I'm also letting you know that these are demons. Satan doesn't have a race. These defendants are not identified by some demographic. They're identified by the pattern of conduct. This is P.O.C. It is currently 11:51 a.m. This is stalking in the bathroom, and doing so with foreign languages. This is all intentional. This is the government gang stalking, P.O.C. $12:19 p.m.
你尿出来了？你尿完了吗？妈妈问你尿完了没？妈妈没听到你的声音啊。你再尿一下。好了。
This is speaking to the immigration policy, deportation throughout the entire state. Those foreign governments are fully engaged in what the United States is engaging in the United States.
尿了吗？没有尿啊。你不尿了？高涵，你不尿了？
The minors are demons also. They know what they're doing, they know who they're monitoring, and it is all state action. Satan doesn't have an age. So I actually want to explain something to you. These are demons that actually understand what I'm stating when they speak foreign languages. There is no linguistic barrier with regard to monitoring spirits. It's an illusion. So you're listening to those that are engaging in the pattern of conduct, and they're monitoring a black woman that doesn't speak their language, and they know that. It's a part of the pattern of conduct intentional. It is the P.O.C. In fact, the foreign language is supposed to suggest that monitoring is the furthest thing away from what's going on. But you see the fake sun? It's remaining in Ontario, California, at Bethel Congregation over me as the entity is stalking through the airport, and the people of the state are maintaining presence, stalking. Nothing is going to change that. But this is another tactic. It's the P.O.C. It's vagina monitoring. It's a sex offense, and this is treason. Understand this. This is treason. That's the treasonous sex offenders gang stalking in a bathroom with children, and they come to the U.S. to engage in this criminal activity with the U.S. government. And you need to sit and adjust your mind to and let that absorb the betrayal that the U.S. government is engaging in with those abroad, and then reconsider what happened at 9/11. This is P.O.C. This is bathroom monitoring. This is speaking to obsession. The entity that is gang stalking me is obsessed with me, and all races and all ages are engaging in this P.O.C. This is monitoring by demon-possessed people, a demon-possessed population, and they immigrate. They move to the U.S. to engage in this. Everything I said the other night is uniformly applicable. They do not have a purpose. Their only purpose is to monitor and influence the masses, where you do not know who you are being influenced by, and you don't understand the significance of that which you are being influenced to do in the spiritual realm. Okay, while the entity is engaging in criminal activities, I'm proving that in the physical realm. Here in the 3D. These are demons, and they are engaging in that in the specific way in which you witness right now for a specific purpose. There is no way in which you're engaging in the pattern of conduct that does not change. You can speak whatever language you want. You can be whatever race, height. You can engage in gang stalking me as a black person. I will prosecute you. You're gang stalking me as a Chinese person, a Taiwanese person, Vietnamese person. I will prosecute you. The entity is engaging in the P.O.C. and contrary to how demons operate, it's not going to be based on your facial expression or the language you speak or what job you have. All of that will be relevant to prosecuting you though, because if you're an immigrant, you're getting deported. And this is why. P.O.C. Marty and Alan, Ashley, Kiki, they're engaged in the perpetual sex offense while the entity is pacing in and out of a bathroom to engage in surveillance under the light source that is still over the venue, while yesterday it's remaining in Ontario. This is the mentally ill that are engaging in this method of surveillance. And this is the entity that's already prosecuted. They're already convicted. This is the entity that's, again, exhibiting severe obsession and instability that they failed in trying to conceal, and they failed in trying to project onto the targeted individual. P.O.C. They're literally engaging in I'll take a screenshot of what they're monitoring. The evidence is being published onto the internet right now, onto the Google Drive, and the activity creation is accomplishing federal stalking. And the entity is in the male restroom. They are sharing in that pattern of conduct with those that are of the opposite gender, gang stalking, all the same. P.O.C. These are sex offenders. The employees are going to prison. This is P.O.C. It is currently 12:25 p.m. We're apparently learning our ABCs in the bathroom stall next to me. This is gang stalking. P.O.C.
那估计不行，不行。阿姨，你出来吧，太累了，你这样。这里破了，这里破了。哦，这里破了。估计他尿不出来。哎，小叔子出来，小叔子出来。奇怪。小叔子给我搞笑了嘛，出来来打我。
As is documented, homosexuality is of a spirit, and these are the females that are engaging in what is sexually perverted and criminal activity on behalf of the government. Homosexuality is of a demonic spirit. This is P.O.C. So I captured the fake sun over me, where I'm positioned on the side of the library where I'm located. So it's over my head at the D Street and Euclid Avenue corner of the Upland Public Library above me. And I have, at this time, it's 12:29 p.m. I am at the Bethel Congregational Church at 536 North Euclid Avenue. And yesterday, the fake sun is over me. Upon my exit of that venue, I walk back to the Ovid Family Community Library. I take a tour around the same downtown Ontario luxury apartment, showing you the fake sun that was over me. As I left that location at 8 in the morning, I return right before 1 p.m. and the fake sun is remaining over me as I return to that venue. I go back to the Ovid Family Community Library and I capture the entity stalking in commercial planes while the fake sun's in Ontario at Ovid. And then you're listening to the ways in which the entity is gang stalking in a bathroom. This is surveillance in a bathroom. This is surveillance in a bathroom by those that are not humans. This is the Nephilim. The Nephilim are coming to the United States to engage in surveillance of American citizens, and the government is aware of it. The government is maintaining a whole system. Immigration policy is facilitating this criminal system. Just to be clear, this is P.O.C. All right, it's currently 2 244, and you can hear criminal summoning referencing a third party that is captured under the fake sun, and the state actors that are all the employees that are stalking by helicopter, including the African American male that's bald, that's engaging what is stalking, pacing all around, just like the one that is present at what is 2:45 p.m. And the entity that is engaging what is staring at a book while you're engaging in conspiracy to commit murder is the one that's going to be committed. And they are also, as you can hear, engaging in what is stalking using emergency vehicles with the third parties that are stalking with noise on the inside. And this is exactly what I want to expose about Alyssa. Alyssa is engaged in harassment, targeted harassment. She does so by asking me to keep the noise down while I am listening at a low volume already on my cell phone to content that I'm listening to. And the entity is engaged in what is amplifying sirens, number one. Number two, which Alyssa is targeting me with, and while I use my device. So Alyssa's engaged in psychological torture. Alyssa is a sex offender monitoring my vagina in the bathroom while the entity goes into that private space under the fake sun that is still over this venue in Upland, California, while it remains at Ovid Family Community Library, while the entity starts the sirens as I press record, speaking to the psychopathic pattern of conduct that Alyssa is engaging in, while she comes around and asks me to turn down that which is already at a low, reasonable volume, while she's simultaneously engaging what is stalking with amplified audible activity as a hostile demon that's engaging what is stalking with those that are operating emergency vehicles, and the co-defendant that is stalking by sitting right next to me. If you'll recall my documentation of what I'm capturing at 10:35 is when I captured the video of the impossible light that was molesting me. I'm sitting at the same location, and at 2:44 p.m. where this entity that is very fearful but also psychopathic, so demons that are scared will very much engage in stalking you by helicopters. Demons that are scared will very much engage in stalking you by criminal summoning, which is what you hear while you can see all the stalkers around you inside of the venue, including the one that is staring at a book sitting right next to me, which is an unlawful threat. I want to speak to the entity that's engaging in that and engaging in the pattern of harassment. While this is what I documented Laura engaging in, this is what Ashley is engaging in, and this is what Alyssa are engaged in. While the entity is maintaining the fakes, and you'll see it over the same D Street, Euclid Avenue corner, where the entity is already. You'll pay attention, rewind this tape, rewind the podcast. And the moment that I start recording, you don't hear the sirens that are approaching from the distance. You can automatically hear the loud volume of the sirens, which is speaking to stalkers that are engaging in surveillance as you analyze as sane human beings. It's what you and I are. But these are demons, so it's amplification. Nonetheless, you're going to prosecute based on what the entity is admittedly engaging in, and you are stalking at a close proximity under an idle fake sun while your co-defendants are stalking me on the inside of the library, and as you're engaging in what is harassment, which is what Alyssa is engaging in, asking me to turn down my communication device while the demons are pacing around on the inside of this venue under the 2:44 p.m. fake sun. And you can look at the fake sun that is directly over me while this demon is sitting next to me, and it is captured at 10:21 a.m. That is 11:12:12. This is over 4 hours later, and it's still outside of the same window above me where I was documenting the African American male that was pacing inside. This is after the entity is stalking by helicopter. These are the psychopaths that come inside of the building where you can see them up close and personal and document them. And this is also the same entity that thought that it was a good idea to try to defame the one who's here to prosecute. And you had an indication when I put the first video up on YouTube. Okay, but these are geniuses that thought that they were just going to steal it, and I was going to be erased, and that they are going to be seen as upright citizens and geniuses that came up with this evidence and the all the revelations regarding this. These are the demons that are stalking with sirens. Okay, this is the entity that's engaging with stalking in the bathroom. This is what I documented. Those that are speaking a foreign language, doing so with regard to evidence that I'm publishing today. Pay attention to everything and the way in which they're engaging in the pattern. I'm talking to the federal government. Pay attention to the details engaging in the ethnicity of those that are gang stalking. What is it that I'm publishing today on the internet? The entity is engaging in gang stalking in the way in which they're engaging in gang stalking because it's speaking to the same pattern that they are admittedly engaging in. Demons are not intelligent. They're creatures of habit. So they're engaging in a pattern, and it's readily identifiable. So I just want to speak to that. This is an entity that's threatening my life and safety and well-being while a demon is sitting in the engineer light that is present at 10:21 in the morning, speaking to idle presence, and is also communicating a threat. Not only while Alyssa is engaging in what is harassment, while the pattern of the employees that are gang stalking and engaging in psychological torture are asking me to turn down that which is, first of all, the means whereby they are stalking me by even making the statement to me, but I'm engaging in what is using my device and even if I turn it up to the highest volume, the entity's engaged in amplifying helicopter activity, and that doesn't seem to, you can see the video of Alyssa and them acting like they don't hear anything when that's ongoing. The entity's engaged in what is stalking me with amplified train activity, as though that's not heard either. They're not disturbed by that, but they're disturbed by my communication device while I'm in the little cubby area, listening to either my own evidence or listening to content on YouTube. It really doesn't even, it is relevant at times with regard to analysis, but oftentimes it's just an entity that is hostile and wants to engage in some sort of exercise of fictitious authority by asking you to turn something down, which is how they're monitoring as well. I just want to point this out, but this is, these employees are all going to prison. Okay, and they're gang stalking with the sex offenders who you can see the close-up images of. You're witnessing mental illness while you stare at a book, and the fake sun is hovering over the top of their head. And this is 4.5 hours after I'm capturing it at 10:21. And as I press record, this demon that is stalking, proven through what is criminal summoning at the same time that I begin recording. This is the P.O.C. All right, this is the entity that is monitoring what I'm publishing today, which is June 18, 2026 evidence. And a whole bunch of mentally ill demons are pacing in and out of doorways. This is Marta, Ashley, Alyssa, Kiki, Alan, the employees who are all subject to federal prison. They're all going to prison for what I'm documenting. The fake sun is over me as I'm outside of this venue at 9, and I'm still inside of the same building at 2:51 p.m. and it's still here. So you're mindful of the City of Upland employee that was gang stalking me by staring at the desktop computers like he was repairing something. He was monitoring, and so was the bald-headed African-American demon that was gang stalking with helicopter and walked into where these employees are working gang stalking me. And that fake sun, the crime scene remains while they go off, and hours later, they've forgotten about it. The entity's engaging, but you're looking at the same crime scene, and this is how you are looking back at the gang stalkers, the sex offenders, the psychopaths that are sounding sirens, okay? This is why you are defunding a criminal expenditure of funds that Bill Valto and the demon that was in office before him engaging in what is financing federal group stalking and monitoring, which is to commit murder. All right, not engaging in the business of the legitimate government, because the business of the people is to engage in the criminal conspiracy to commit murder. That's why they're gang stalking at the Upland City Hall, gang stalking at the Upland Public Library, doing so while the entity is engaging in surveillance, sounding sirens on the same street where you saw and you heard San Bernardino County Fire engaging in that. While I'm at the Chevron, this is the same street. Okay, it's on the opposite side of the street, a block, 2 blocks away. This is the same location. Fake sun hasn't moved. That's the entity that's engaged in that, and it's not a distraction for you. It's the evidence that those that you can see in the Google Drive, all the faces that I zoom in on, they're all demons. They're all stalkers, and all the employees are going to prison. Serial stalkers are going to federal prison. They're subject to mental examinations, and the city of Upland is being federally prosecuted. So this is the entity that's engaged in that, and this is martial law that's going into place. This is the prosecution of the corporations that are terrorists. This is speaking to the prosecution of that whole entity. So I just want to speak to that. The entity likes to and is obsessed with me and wants to be right next to me while they are stalking. Gang stalking is that which you don't have to commit while you're right next to me. This is the entity that it is exceedingly obsessed. And that obsession is shown in the sky space right above their head where they are not focused on reading. And this is why their gang stalking children cannot read. All right, this is the P.O.C. They are monitoring. It's 2:53 p.m.
Molestation, license plate 8HLW112. Molesting. This is Giselle Angarita, DDS APC, and Evan Baker, DDS, gang stalkers at the dentistry office. That's heavily documented. And she's engaging in sexual assault and battery while she is stalking in a parking lot. This is mental illness, and this is the entity that's engaging. You have demons that are in the medical field, including those that are working on your teeth. You need to be aware of that. And these demons in particular have been documented before. This is relevant to what is prosecution for also retaliation. That's the charges that they are getting. The entity is engaging in sexual assault and battery and lying in wait. The moment that I approach is when you're driving out or driving in. It's a means to engage in a sex offense that's committed by the entity. This is P.O.C. That third-party license plate is engaging in, and dentistry, the dentistry office, which is located at 848 and 846 North Euclid Avenue. The facilitating venue, and that's the entity itself engaging in that sex offense. This is P.O.C. The fake moon is over me at the venue. This is all manner of prosecuting. You're in the medical field and you're gang stalking. You're not going to be in the medical field anymore. You are not. This is P.O.C. 9 FOS 758, stalking at the intersection of H as in Henry and Euclid Avenue, the facilitating venue where I published evidence today about the entity stalking by helicopter. All these facts are relevant with regard to the people that say that are gang stalking. The fake moon is captured over me at Perez Law, which is at Granada and Euclid. This is the block where this demon is stalking with light in the path. So that's at nightfall, stalking with just sitting with your headlights on. And the headlights is under no circumstances the explanation for the engineer light, where the demons are operating weapons on the roads and the highways, gang stalking and furtherance of murder and psychological torture, which is what that third party is engaging in. And that third party is doing it at what is 802 North Euclid Avenue. It is the intersection, the facilitating venue of H as in Henry Street and Euclid Avenue. This is P.O.C. Alrighty, this is P.O.C. Sexual assault and battery. Fake moons over Bethel. License 7656114. This is at F as in Frank and Euclid Avenue, where these demons are stalking, gang stalking at Laurelwood Apartments. They're already on the record, got a whole playlist of gang stalking, and they are now. The entity is engaging in that which I documented, for example, Amazon Prime stalking by delivering a package. A third party that is not with any logo on it is stalking in the path, leaving light in the path. That's how I'm able to see them from Bethel. And the fake moon is over me at Bethel. And at the Iglesia Apostolica Profetica, where people are going to be deported if they're not natural-born citizens, because they are heavily documented as terrorists. Gang stalking, they are stalking with light at that venue as well. These demons are engaging in sexual assault and battery. This is P.O.C. That third party is stalking at the corner. The people of the state are engaged in, they're still today, this is what this evidence shows, that this population is still stalking me. They're still following me around. They're still engaged in monitoring. They're doing up and down the street where they live, and they're all going to be prosecuted for that as well. This is the entity that's engaged in that, and immigration is not going to be able to help any gang stalking immigrant in California, and this is exactly why. I've already supported my evidence as to why federal law is going to prosecute every facet of this population. P.O.C. I took a picture of the fake moon, 8 Sam Robert Frank 210, stalking on Euclid Avenue in Frank. Oh, excuse me, F as in Frank. This is P.O.C. This is P.O.C. The entity is sending a text message to my phone at the same time that the entity starts stalking by helicopter. That third party is gang stalking, and that third party is a resident at a facilitating venue. They will be directly impacted by all of the evidence against them, which you are mindful of because you already know that these are homosexuals who are obsessively stalking me because they're suicidal and they can't think about what they're going to be facing in courtrooms. You're mindful of what Southwest Airlines, what's happening at Reliable Properties, the fake sunrise that occurred at G Street in Euclid, the entity that kept the fake sun in Upland, California, while the entity maintained the fake sun yesterday in Ontario. That's what you're mindful of, the bigger picture about them, okay? This is the P.O.C. This is the entity that's under the fake moon that's now over the Ovid Family Community Library location. This is where I'm at. This is the P.O.C. And this is the entity that is prosecuted already on the social media where they're monitoring me. This is P.O.C. This is psychopathic pacing. And this is what the airlines are doing when they're stalking me going up Euclid Avenue. This is the ongoing dishonorable discharge of homosexuals who are mentally ill from the military, who are engaged in terrorism, not protecting American citizens. And all of facilitating venues around here are engaging in the P.O.C. Janice Gann is a third-party facilitating, she's a third-party residing at a facilitating venue right here at John Stewart Company, and there are no coincidences here. This entity, including Janice Gann, sends a text message. She is targeting me with the military, who was already present in the path, stalking right here, and rips through what is flying over this tree at the moment that she sends me a text message, I am asking her what she wants. Okay, the moment that text message, which is operation of a communication device, what is stalking by helicopter. And this is the entity that's going to be prosecuted by and held down by martial law. While you're looking at the ease with which they're engaged in public corruption, this is the ease with which they engage in raping children, stealing from people, kidnapping them, perjuring themselves to defame their character in court as though nothing is happening. Understand that this is the entity that's exhibiting mental illness, not ignorance. There's no anonymity. They're in the specific environment, and they are engaging in terrorism as a people. The entity that's engaged in that is one that is going to be federally prosecuted, and that is literally the entire city of Ontario. This is P.O.C. It is currently where the entity is stalking by helicopter at the UPLAND Public Library. The entity is stalking at the Ovid Family Community Library. And I will publish what is the text message of Janice Gann sending to my telephone while she is monitoring me with the military. She's engaged in federal stalking. She is a co-conspirator of murder, and she's a resident at the third-party gang stalker John Stewart Company. She's regularly engaged in gang stalking, and she will be dealt with in the prosecution of all the residents. This is P.O.C. It is currently 8:40 p.m.